poppin' YouTube? Extra Thick Games here with you tonight with another deck profile. One that did get a good bit of a love tap from the previous ban list, but we're still playing it, and I should have been playing this one the whole time because it just perfectly exemplifies what goes on through my head and my imagination, as you would see if you were ever to, purchase either of my books. You see All Ye Who Enter Here, A Chorus of Angels, or if you're on a budget, you could always get the both of them put together, all in one complete, unique package, available on Amazon at unbeatable prices. Okay, shameless plug over with. We are, of course, talking about Burning Abyss, and this particular build of Burning Abyss, we are talking about Danger, Sekka'S Light, Burning Abyss. Let's get right into it. Alright, thick boys, let's start with the 40 card main deck. We are, of course, going to run the one Seer and the one Graph, the two limited cards on the Forbidden and Limited list, and easily the two best main deck Burning Abyss monsters in the whole deck. You gotta have your Seer. Special summoning one Burning Abyss monster from your graveyard when it is sent to the graveyard. It facilitates, getting Dante back. It gets your Underclock, your Beatrice combo just out swimmingly. You gotta have him, and he's just versatile in the events that, you don't have that combo, but you need to set up for something. You get another body on the field to do just whatever you want with. And then Graph is also pretty good in the event that, Seer will summon one from the graveyard. Graph here is going to summon one from the deck. A lot of times you're going to be bringing out your Seer from the deck onto the field and then go into some craziness. If you link him away, Dante's in the graveyard, you're getting your Dante back, and you're off to the races from there. One Seer, one Graph, because it's all you're allowed to play. We are going to play the double Skarm. We don't want to have three ofs by any means for reasons you'll see later on in the deck, though if you're familiar with Burning Abyss, I'm sure you already know why we don't want to have multiples in the graveyard of any monster, but you don't even want to run three of this one anyway. It is your Searcher, but it's a little too slow, right? You get your Search, but it's during the end phase that this guy's sent to the graveyard, so you're not able to really extend much. It's a little too slow to justify at 3, especially with the boss monsters that we're going to get to. Moving right along, we've got the double Farfa. Again, not 3, just double of just about all of them. And this one, good bit of spot removal. He's sent to the graveyard, you target one on the field, you banish it until the end phase. Clear field, because this deck is basically Boral Sword Turbo. Get rid of something that's problematic, get him on the field, attack something else, get those extra points, and push for game, right? Very good card, gotta play it. Next, and a lot of times I don't even know why we play double of this guy, probably just for the extra dark level 3 Burning Abyss name, but we've got the double Calcab. It's into the graveyard, you target one set spell or trap on the field and return it to the hand. Not that great, but I mean, there are some matchups where this does shine very brightly. Use it against Altergeist or some rogue decks, just get rid of some of that problematic back row, and then overlay it, link into something with it, and you're off to the races from there. It does have its uses in specific matchups. Still, better to have it than to not have it. Next, for the two ofs, we got the Lilbic, double Lilbic, and you gotta have him because it's spitting you out more resources from the hand. Say, if you've actually used your Sekka'S Light and you've got a spell or a trap in the graveyard and you haven't used the other effect to get it out of there, or if you've already used up your normal summon and there's a non-Burning Abyss main deck monster you want on the field, this is good for getting it on board, right? It doesn't have its effects, but you're still spitting out an extra resource to use for link material or Xyz material or what have you. We got two more main deck Burning Abyss monsters. We've got the one, I can't even read his name. Is that Alec? Yeah, that's Alec. What? I don't even remember this card. Oh, he's a almost kind of want to say hand trap, but you know you're not really using him in the hand. He's a graveyard trap. There you go. He's a grave trap. You send him to the graveyard and you negate something's effects. That's not bad. It's a graveyard effect veiler. All right, that's pretty good. And then lastly, you're gonna play your Barbar, and that he's basically for winning in time, right? Because when he's sent to the graveyard, you can banish up to 3 Burning Abyss monsters in your graveyard, and deal 300 for each. So if you're in time and your points are pretty close, you just burn them for 900 and hopefully win from there. Goes to show how often I use Alec, right? Jeez, that's embarrassing. Oh well, I'm honest. I don't ever use him. Now for the non-Burning Abyss monsters, since we're going to run into our Danger engine, we're going to run Double Snake and Double Jackalope. Both Dark level 3s, and both will help you get Burning Abyss monsters in the graveyard, or if you hit them, you're discarding, you're drawing. They're great extenders, really. Sure, if you get one on board, you'll have a non-Burning Abyss monster on the field, which would ordinarily trigger all their destruction effects. But you know, that's why we run the 3 Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Not a Burning Abyss monster, but really might as well have been. He's not a dark, but he's a level 3, and he prevents other Fiend monsters from being destroyed by card effects, and that includes their own. Not to mention, he's got a nifty little graveyard effect, right? You send one from your deck to the graveyard, and I mean, you get that mill effect, and you get the Burning Abyss monster's graveyard effect. It's fantastic. Then, one of the, let's see, this is one of the reasons why... No, this isn't specifically as to why you don't want monsters with the same names in the graveyard, but Fairy Tale Snow, because we're going to have a bunch of monsters in the graveyard. He's a monster card Book of Moon, she is, and extra link material... all sorts of that thing. You're basically spitting it out for free once you banish 7 cards, and yeah, that's oh my god. Normal summon or special summon. You target one face-up monster. This card is in your graveyard. Banish 7 from your hand field or graveyard. Oh my god, I read that wrong, and I was like, oh my god, have I been playing this wrong the whole time? No, oh my god, that's a whole lot better. I read it, I just saw the field part and thought, you have to banish these from your hand or field, and then graveyard, of course. Chances are you're going to be banishing them all from the graveyard anyway to get it out on the field, and of course, you know, flipping something face down. You're going to play the 1 tour guide, basically your free Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss, and hand trap bait for sure. People are always going to try and negate this thing's effect. Good luck to them, because we're playing Danger Burning Abyss. And I think this is the last of our level 3s. We got the double, Gallus the Star Beast. We don't want triple, because its effect is pretty interesting, right? You reveal it from your hand, and then you mill a monster, or you reveal it rather, and well, I guess it is milling it. You send it to the graveyard. If it's a monster, you inflict damage equal to the level times 200. Then you special summon this bad boy, and you're going to deal about 600 points of damage more often than not, because most of the main deck monsters are level 3, but should you happen to hit your Sekka'S Light, this guy goes to the graveyard instead, and we don't want both of them ending up there. Still a great card. If you mill one of your Burning Abyss monsters, you're getting that effect, you're dealing some damage for time, and then you've got a level 3 for Dante, or you've got a link material for Boral Sword, because let's be real, that's what we're using. And we're using the 1 Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, and yeah, we're going to use this one for our own Nightmare Mermaid plays, and you'd be surprised how many decks and people these days are just not running the Nightmare Mermaid. So when they get hit with your Ibli, they're just stuck. They're absolutely just stuck. I don't know why everyone's not running just 1 Nightmare Mermaid, but you'd be surprised, or you might not be surprised. You might play a bunch of people who don't play them. And now for the part that kind of hurt us. We're going to play the 1 Fabled Sulcius, as well as the double Malicious. Still want to play the engine. I mean, Malicious is self-explanatory. It's in the graveyard. You banish it, summon your other one. Chances are you're going to go into your Beatrice with that one. You get your Sekka'S. They combo very well. You're sending 2 from the grave, or sending 2 from the hand to the grave. Special summon this one from the graveyard. You got both of them in the grave. You're getting 2 Burning Abyss effects, and then you're summoning this level 6, and then from banishing 1, you get the other one. You double level 6 right there. You get your Beatrice, which will be able to activate its effect that turn because you didn't overlay Dante or anything. But a lot of times you would have the 3 Mallies, so that when you banish the first one, you could still go into a second one, so you get your Beatrice and maybe a Link material, but still one or the other is more than good enough to warrant still running the engine. And since we do have a bunch of light extra deck monsters and mostly dark main deck monsters, we are going to run the 1 BLS. I mean, it's BLS, what can you say? Like, you're banishing something, you're attacking twice, it's a 3k body, it's searchable because of Isolde, and bet we do run Isolde in this extra deck, but it's BLS, it's self-explanatory. And now for the real reason why we don't want to run too many duplicates of monsters is the Orbital Hydralander, right? Because you gotta have so many monsters in your graveyard, but none of them can be the same monster. You special summon this one, it's I don't know why this was printed as a common. This should have been like at least a super rare card, basically designed for Burning Abyss, because then you're milling cards again and popping something on the field, as long as you don't run into duplicates again. But it's so versatile, it's so easy to spit out, and you're just plussing and plussing with these effects, right? Because you're sending 3, that's 3 potential different monsters that are going to get their graveyard effects. Double Vanity's Fiend. Run at your own preference, really. I do, because similarly to my very first deck profile with the with the Dark Lords, when I ran both the Vanity's Fiend and the Archlord Christia, people just don't have answers for it. They really don't. You run into something that's got a fairly decent body that prevents you from special summoning. Every deck special summons. Like, if they don't have an answer for that, they just can't play the game. I run this. If you want to make room for other cards, more hand traps, what have you, feel free, but I feel like just shutting your opponent out completely is a little bit better than just, an extra 1 negate or interrupt, right? Why interrupt when you can just flat out halt? We do run a little small kaiju package. Of course, you got to run the 1 Gamma-CL because, best one to give to your opponent, and then literally any other kaiju besides Gamma-CL. I've got Kumongous because, well, there's no real reason, it was the first kaiju I found. Run any other kaiju. But the kaiju engine is great in Burning Abyss, it really just is. And for hand traps, not many, just, Double Ash, still the best one in the game. And the 1 effect Veiler, play Impermanence if you want, but I mean, because we are running the triple Sekka'S Light, lastly, we don't want a trap card in the graveyard, so we got the 1 monster card. The monster card version of Infinite Impermanence is Effect Veiler. It comes in handy, it really does. Sure, it's susceptible to call by the grave and whatnot, but better than nothing. Then lastly, of course, the only spells we run in the deck are the triple Sekka'S Light. You draw on 2 cards, and then you can't play any other spells besides this in the whole game, but then you banish this card, shuffle 1 back into the deck, and then draw. So, I mean, you're just drawing tremendously, and then if you've got multiples of monsters in the graveyard, so you can't get access to your Orbital Hydralander, she helps you out with that greatly, and it's just the only spell card you really need, at least for your game 1. If there's a particularly horrible matchup that requires you to run maybe a couple traps, this is going to be what you're going to side out first, but as far as game 1, Sekka'S Light boosts your consistency greatly. Alright, now let's get into that extra deck. Now for that extra deck, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play the 3 Dante Traveler of the Burning Abyss, the miracle card when it comes to the ban list. For however many years this deck's been relevant, it still has not gotten touched as far as that one is concerned, but this card combos just extremely well with Seer in the main deck, and oh my god, like, it's one of your easiest ways to go into Beatrice. You plus in, it can attack and then go straight into defense mode when it loses those points. You're milling cards, so you're getting their Burning Abyss, graveyard effects. I mean, all of your all of your plays need to start, all of your extra deck plays need to start with Dante. They just really do. And then the one card that did get hit, as far as the one extra deck monster that did get hit on the ban list, as far as getting limited, is your Beatrice. Gotta play Beatrice, and if you happen to be able to get it with the Malicious and the Sekka'S, yeah, you're gonna be able to. Oh my god. Yeah, what is it? I think you get to mill one. Yeah, you send a card from deck to grave, so you get in their Burning Abyss graveyard effects. I haven't really gotten to use that effect so much, which is why I had to, read it to make sure I was getting it right. I usually do get the Dante part, but you also want to use it for its other effects, in case people blindly just pop it with some card effect and they don't realize that second effect. You summon a Burning Abyss monster from your extra deck, ignoring the summoning conditions. That's big, ignoring the summoning conditions. So you're not going to go into this Dante, you're going to go into this Dante. Dante, the Pilgrim of the Burning Abyss. It says you have to fusion summon it and can't special summon it other ways, except Beatrice kind of just bypasses that completely, and you're sending a Burning Abyss card from your hand to the graveyard, so you're milling one, getting an extra deck, or you're getting a graveyard effect. You're drawing one, so you're plussing, and if it happens to get destroyed, you get to just rip something out of your opponent's hand. That's always good. Link monsters, we got a bunch of them. Of course, Borrelsword, in a deck that might as well be Borrelsword Turbo. You're spitting out a bunch of monsters every turn because, oh my god, like, the special summoning effects on the Burning Abyss monsters are ridiculous. No spell or traps, pop them out, pop them out, pop them out, pop them out. If you went second and they just left their field open with some nonsense, just not a very strong board at all, and you saw an OTK potential and your hand was full of Burning Abyss monsters, Borrelsword, and just wreck them in that turn. If they just spit out some giant beater and you could attack twice, you could just end it that way if they didn't have any mana protection. The other Link 4 is going to be Borreload. Problematic monsters, it can just snatch them, right? I actually used this guy when I had a Thunder Dragon matchup one time, and I took their Colossus and then linked it away, and Borreload's still good. It's still really good. It's a wonderful out for problematic monsters. Nightmare package. I'm going to run the one Nightmare Unicorn. You don't really want to run the Griffin because not all your monsters are really ever going to be linked that often, and you don't want their own effects to not be able to activate. But this one, bouncing something back to deck, or is it deck or hand? You're popping extra deck monsters back more often than not anyway, so it doesn't matter. Then Phoenix, pop a spell or trap. Cerberus, pop a monster. And then Mermaid, you're running it so you can get your Ibly onto your opponent's field, and in case someone Iblies you, you've got an out for it, right? Thanks for the link material, dumbass. Summon Sorceress. Not really gonna go into it that much, but you could get out another Fiend monster, right? And say you only were able to access 3, and then you would go into that, and it would spit out one more, and yeah, you'd be able to go into a Link 4 from there. So Summon Sorceress is still a good card. It's sold because a lot of Dantes are warriors. You got a couple of those that you can go into with this and search out your BLS. Underclock Taker for the, it's in the combo name, Underclock Beatrice combo. And then just the last card is not one that you're ever going to summon by any means, but it's going to be number 86, Heroic Champion Rangominiad. And that's because we side deck the Ghost Reaper, right? And so I run a lot of these ones in the extra deck for secondary reasons. You summon Sork, you're sold, Borrelsword even. If you're not going to go into them, but you see your opponent's going for it, you've got the opportunity to just stop it right there. And that's going to be a perfect segue to get into the side deck, isn't it now? Now, as for that side deck, we're of course running the Ghost Reapers. Haven't decided if 3 would be necessary, but still, chances are anytime you're siding something out, it's probably going to be the Sekka'S Light. Might hurt the consistency, but if it gets you to something that's going to stop whatever problem that your opponent is hurting you with, you're going to want this if it's an extra deck monster. And everything else, let's see. Double Impermanence, if the one effect Veiler isn't necessarily enough, and this can't get hit by Called by the Grave. Double Evenly, because extra links exist, and you don't want them to. Hit them with this. Red Reboot, because Altergeist exists, and I don't like it when people besides me play that deck. Royal Decree, same reason. Same exact reason. And lastly, Twin Twisters. Wow, just about every one of my side decks are just anti-Altergeist cards, but Twin Twisters will also help you out with anything that's field spell heavy or rogue. Gets rid of problematic back row. Besides, you're discarding a card, so you're getting a Burning Abyss graveyard effect, so it's good for all of those reasons. But that just about wraps up the Danger, Sekka'S Light, Burning Abyss deck profile here on the channel. So, let me know what you guys thought about it. If you agree with the choice as far as the Malicious and the Sekka'S, despite the hit on the ban list. And above all else, stay thick. Stay thick.